This is our Maiden Town Council regular meeting for Tuesday, December 13th. Before our invocation and pledge of allegiance, I just want to introduce Wesley Deaton. He is going to be our attorney for tonight. And in the invocation and pledge of allegiance will be led by Mayor Pro Tem Beth Rudisell.
Y'all stand, please. Let us bow our heads. Dear our Heavenly Gracious Father, we thank you for this Christmas season when we get to celebrate your birth. My prayer is that the entire world will experience joy, peace, and love. I pray that you'll be with those who are sick, who are lonely, or missing someone special in their life this Christmas. May they find joy in you in this season and experience a peace that passes all understanding that we know that you can provide. I pray that you'll bless our nation and those who are lost will turn to you and experience the love that only you can give. Guide us as a council, Lord, to make the right decisions for our town and its people. Keep us all safe and remind us to look to you in every situation and experience. May you receive all the glory in all we do. We love you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you have before you the agenda. Anyone want to make any changes, or if not, we'll need a motion to approve the agenda as
Mr. Mayor, I
presented.
move we approve the agenda as presented.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. That motion is carried unanimous. Okay, approval of the regular and special meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the regular and special meeting minutes as presented.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. That motion is carried unanimous. Citizens' requests and comments. If you'd like to say anything, we just ask that you come up and tell us your name and address, all that good stuff.
Hey, Samantha Saunders from the Maiden Business Association. Just needed to give you an update for the Merry Maiden Downtown Christmas. It's this Thursday, 5:30 to 8:30. We will have it if it's misting or drizzling. We do have a rain date if we must reschedule, and it's December the 19th, which is Monday. Hopefully, we'll get to have it drizzle, sprinkle, mist, but that's the plan. Does anybody want a list of the activities that are going on and where to find them?
I saw them online. I thought that was
Okay.
good.
I'll take one.
Okay.
I'll take one also, Samantha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody in the audience? Any questions for me concerning the Merry Maiden Downtown Christmas?
So I didn't have a question, but when I looked at that schedule, and it may have changed since I looked at it, but I also heard or saw something posted today that First Baptist Church will be giving out free hot dogs as well.
Did that make the list?
I didn't see it on the first list that I saw, but
Okay.
feel free to correct me on that, but it's
It might not have made the list. We looked at it and looked at it and looked at it, but that probably did get left off. I apologize.
No, that's all right.
They're doing, free hot dogs and the Walk of Life.
correct.
I'll try to add that to the poster we make over there.
Thank you for that.
Oh. Any other concerns? All right,
I'm gonna know it.
okay. Excuse me, I have to go to the house.
Thank you, Sam.
Busy night.
Go ahead, young man.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for letting me be here tonight. I'm Bobby Leatherman. I'm kind of hoarse, so normally they tell me I never shut up. All I do is talk all the time, so I'm pretty good at talking. But What I'm here and concerned about is, we had a piece of property over here on West Maiden Road. And it went before the planning board, and some of the people were on board to make this piece of property, and it never got to Maiden, okay? It never got here to be annexed, that kind of thing. Reason being, the planning board, I feel, had a problem with it from the beginning because they said it's sitting beside the rock quarry. Well, 25, 30 years ago, 28 years ago, when they opened this rock quarry, there was nothing in the paper, nowhere, about a buffer zone that they're asking for over here. They said that this buffer zone needs to be big enough that it takes that residential area out of play from the paper. Now, in the past, 25, 30 years, nothing. Now, it's my grandmother's land. I grew up on it. I'm 65 years old, and I've been around it since day one. And now, we've got 26 owners in that property, and 20 of those people are in the Maiden district right here. Went to school with some of them. I just named a few to Danny. But, you know, I listened to the gentleman, one of the gentlemen on the planning board, and he says, it's not gonna fly, we're gonna shoot it down. And that's basically the way it went. So then, after it didn't make it through the planning board, we're now going to the county commissioners. So D.R. Horton went before the county commissioners on their last meeting, asked for an extension. The extension was because the planning board had to give them something to look for. How close are you to the quarry? You know, this kind of thing. Well, 2 weeks before the county commissioners got it, the gentleman on the planning board told me it was gonna get shot down. It's not gonna happen. So he didn't say anything. I never questioned him. He's a brother in my lodge, so I just kept it quiet, you know. I behaved myself and didn't say anything out of the way. After it got shot down, I went to him and, or called him the next morning, and the comment was, one of the gentlemen on the county commissioners had been to Maiden, and Maiden didn't want to have anything to do with it. Now, where that statement came from, I don't know where it came from down here, but it was going to get shot down if Maiden had the opportunity to do it. They didn't want no part of it. I don't understand, the property's been there and the rock quarry's been there. Never have they asked for any kind of buffer zone. So somebody has had to lead them to turning this down, because now is basically, is the property big enough for residential? I don't know. So the other day I stopped by Martin Marietta, and I asked the gentleman, you know, I asked him, I was like, hey, I'm fixing to retire. Can I put chicken houses on this property over here? I can see it's not gonna shake the foundations to pieces like they were talking about it dynamiting. It was because they don't dynamite, they use chemicals now. And I would ask the town of Maiden to, if it ever comes up, to take in consideration the $332 million project that's going on over here with Microsoft. Is it gonna shake their buildings apart in a 300-acre solar field if this comes together? If we put a building on ours adjacent to this rock quarry, that 100,000 or 200,000 square foot building, or these chicken houses, is it gonna bust the foundations and shake them down like it was gonna do those houses? This is the first opportunity since my grandmother passed away that we had a chance to sell that property. I told the lady that listed it for whatever she wanted to list it for. We wanted rid of it, you know, but it didn't happen because it got taken care of uptown in Newton before it ever got to y'all. So that big joint, that big piece right here on that map that joins the rock quarry, I look at it as like, one of the senators here in town told me, said, maybe Martin Marietta needs to buy that property. If they're telling you now that they need a buffer zone, and 25 or 30 years ago, they didn't say anything about it. They bought the pond, the land from my grandmother to build a pond on. It hadn't shook that pond apart yet. The dam hadn't busted. Her old house is 150 years old or whatever. It hadn't fell to the ground. So I don't understand how the wording can get around. And I will go back to the county commissioners, and I'm gonna ask them the same thing. Who turned it down? I'm gonna ask who turned it down in Maiden. You know, I would like to hear an answer from somebody. But I thank y'all for letting me be here to speak, but if you get an opportunity that we can use that land, could I put more, if y'all have to annex it in? Now, I look at it as like, the fellow on Startown Road has put all them campers down there. What's he got, 30 spaces maybe, and every one of them stays full, $550 a month. That's revenue. Anything that you do with that property, that $3,000 a month we're paying in taxes, if those homes were built over there, you'd be at $500,000. One of the ladies on the commissioners made a statement. There are three things that they were looking for. First off, West Maiden Road is not safe to drive on. And I'm sitting back here and I'm listening. She said the traffic just flies over there. You can't handle it. And if you don't think I'm telling you the truth, go back and listen to their minutes. Watch the tape. Everything that I've ever seen Maiden do, and I've been around Maiden since I was a youngin' as well, from the Jody Burger on up. When it opened, I was here. And Maiden is probably one of the best communities that we've got in Catawba County. I mean, if I was to move from Lincoln, I'd probably come find me a place in Maiden because it's not overpushed. The people are friendly. Never had a problem there. Never have ever had a problem. But I just don't, I don't agree with a lot that's going on. How these people buy this property over here for Microsoft, you never see a sign go up. And it's happening all over our county, not just in Maiden District, but all the warehouses that's being built, 29 acres going under roof over on Hickory Lincoln Highway. You never see a sign go up. How do these people know this property's for sale? So, anyway, I'm gonna leave that with you. I just hope that you will think about us in due time. Because 20 or maybe by the time it gets done and sold again, there'll probably be 100 owners in it. But I think the town of Maiden, y'all are good people. And I'm not gonna stand here and jump up and down and raise Cain about it not selling. Don't matter to me, I still got the fishing rights to the pond down there. So if you got grandkids that wanna fish, let me know. That's all you gotta do. I'm telling you, there's some nice fish. But as far as your police chief sitting back here, somebody needs to address the county commissioners, the lady that said it, and I'll tell you exactly who it was when I get out of the meeting. Because these guys travel that road daily. I come Startown Road to work every day. There's always, at the church down there, at the BP station, Times Oil owns, your guys, your city officers are there. When you're going from here across West Maiden Road, chances are you're gonna meet one every time, or they're gonna be running traffic up there at the Masonic Lodge, somewhere in that area. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish all of you a Merry Christmas, and I thank you for your time.
Hey, before you go, just a couple of things on that. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me, but we've never even had to have that discussion. So, you know, I know the comments that Maiden's this or Maiden's that. We never even had to have that discussion because of what the county did with their choice. And nothing has been brought to this council that I know of regarding that piece of property. Not saying that it would or wouldn't be, but I am bothered a little bit that a preconceived notion by any board would say it's not gonna fly or it's not gonna pass, especially if it's from one person instead of the entire board.
That's right.
So I would think that, you know, we'd wanna get the data and the facts prior to that. With regard to the traffic comment, and it was also in the paper, and you can see there who made that statement. But I would thank you for your recognition of what our police force does, and
Thank you.
I travel on that road as well, so I appreciate that, and I appreciate you coming here to voice those concerns.
Like I say, you know how to get a hold of me, you know where to find me. If you wanna take your kids fishing this summer, we got the water rights to the pond and the quarry owns it, okay? But there are some nice fish in that pond.
I understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all, and Merry Christmas to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Merry Christmas to you.
I just wanted to bring it to, everybody's in the audience, the planning board he was talking about wasn't the towns, it was the county planning board.
Okay.
it turned down.
That
I
makes
just wanted to clear that up, because like
Sounds
Danny
good.
said, this is our first, go-around of seeing any of this. So. Anyone else?
I just got a quick announcement. We'd just like to let everybody know that this year Jody Rogers Day will be held on January 3rd and 5th. As you all know, Jody held a special place in his heart for basketball, and we honor him at the beginning of each season with a day in his name. Each night will start at 5:30 at the Recreation Center and 6:30 at the elementary school. This is a chance for Maiden teams to scrimmage, as well as celebrate Jody's impact on the Maiden Parks and Recreation Department, as well as youth who participate in winter sports. So 3rd and 5th.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Keith.
I have one question. In October, we had a group here talking about economic development, and they were gonna follow up. I think they had some things going on in December or January. Have you heard any more on that?
Blake's actually going, it's actually the 15th when we got, Mary Maiden, so Blake will not be here. He will be in Raleigh attending that.
Okay.
And he's also, we can, once it gets fine tuned, we'll send it out, but he's also worked up a, what do you call that sheet?
Oh, you're talking about the, presentable, yeah.
Yeah, it's a flyer that they can take to conference and stuff, so he's been working on that. So, we'll email that out probably next day or two, cause he should have it ready before he goes to Thursday.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am?
I want to just mention about the luminary service that was this past week. I have heard lots of positive comments about that. They love the music, touch to it. You know, anytime you have an event, you get positive and negative. I've not heard any negative about it at all. They were very, most people really thought it was nice, and they liked that we went back to having it on a Sunday night as opposed to joined with Mary Maiden. So you guys did a good job with that.
Did a good job getting the good weather too, that helps.
And two, heard a lot of good comments about the Christmas parade this year. They could see it, had a lot of participation, worked out well.
Okay. Anyone else in the audience have anything they'd like to say?
So I appreciate Beth's comments and her prayers, as we have lots of folks in our community with some health concerns, and you know, if you're watching the news and you believe the news, then there's a lot of flu, a lot of other things going around. Did speak to one of our more vocal citizens today, Miss Mary Henry. She asked us to keep her in her prayer. She's getting ready to have some surgery and is under the weather, but I did check with her. She was still very spry. So that's all I have.
Well, I guess I'll say, this is our last meeting for the year. I just want to tell everybody thank you, and thank you for this year, having a great year. We've accomplished a lot, so hopefully we'll keep moving forward.
Anyone else? Okay, we're gonna move right along now. You have before you the consent agenda item. Consists of the finance officer's report.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the finance officer report.
Have a motion?
A second.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion's carried unanimous. Board and committee appointment. Planning Board of Adjustment appointment.
Good evening, council. The Planning and Zoning Board of Adjustment has 3 appointments that are up. Currently, Paul Beatty and Bruce Eichard, they have requested to be reappointed to the board. Roger Eisenhower, who serves as our outside alternate, has requested not to be reappointed. Anthony Lawing is requested to be placed on the board and indicated that he would like to serve as our outside alternate member.
Make a motion, we approve the board appointments for planning and zoning board of adjustment.
Have a motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion's carried unanimous. Presentation, Heaven Creative, Branding.
Good evening, council. My name is Jenny Buchholz, founder of Haven. Yes, I have new tech, so if I mess it up, don't judge me. We don't have this fancy stuff in Waxhaw, so. Most of you were at the informational session regarding the branding, so I'm gonna keep this presentation brief, but for those that might be watching online, I do wanna give some background to how we got to where we are today. So high level, we are Haven Creative, and there we go, awesome. Like I said, I'm the founder of Haven Creative. We have a team of 7 now, have grown, and in your team specifically was Ian Redmond was the project manager for this branding initiative, which took approximately 6 months. And background on that is we work with communities across the country actually on branding projects, and the way that we do it is develop, design, deploy. So we have a 3-stage process. The develop process is quite extensive. We make sure we do an internal survey, an external survey, a community-wide survey, stakeholder surveys. We interview, do one-on-one, 1-hour interviews with people in the community. Then we get to our design phase, which is where we do logo design to bring the branding to life. And then deploy, which is what we're about to hit, is us sharing that story and making sure that the branding is announced to your community. So I'm gonna go through some of those background things today. This is just an example. You can access this presentation, but we work with communities all around North Carolina, a high level of our timeline, our participation surveys. The key things here, what we heard from your community members and your stakeholders were how important it was to preserve and protect what makes Maiden special, which is that small town charm and unique identity, but also making sure that we're open to economic development opportunity. And that's the importance behind branding in general. It's not about slapping some logo or tagline on a community and make it not authentic. It's about finding out what is very special about your community so that we can protect it, but we can also say what that is. So when someone comes into town, we can say, hey, this is who we are. This is why we want to protect this amazing thing. So we'll get to some of that results. When we went through all of the developed stage, you'll see this is quite extensive, and I don't want to put you all to sleep, which is why I'm sliding through them. The key themes there were the development that we want to see was about revitalizing Maiden's downtown area, seeing those small specialty shops. We don't want big box chains. We want to have some unique identity, right? So that's part of that survey there. We also heard feedback from the community that blue is really important to Maiden. Something that came to mind was blue and green, so which is very common. But we use that data to understand how can we create a design that represents that identity. So from there, we looked at your competitors, because what's important, we want to stand out from the crowd. We don't want to look like every other community that's right nearby. And we also want to make sure what we're saying is unique to Maiden and not just a cookie cutter tagline or sound. So some of the communities we looked at locally were Lincolnton. And like I said, I'm not going to go through every story here. You can access this presentation. Newton, Mooresville, and Hickory. From there, we crafted messaging in Morganton as well. We crafted messaging that we consider your brand positioning. So that might sound like jargon, but what it is every brand, just like a house, has a foundation. And we want to make sure that we build upon that with a strong message so that we're not building upon a cracked foundation. We want to have strong walls. And if you think of branding, you then have design, which are your curtains, your doors, all the things that make a beautiful house. So branding is so much more than a logo or a tagline. It's basically based on the perception that lives in the hearts and minds of your people in your community and where you're headed as a community. So what we did is we developed a brand platform. It has a story, it has a tagline, it has your logo, new identity, but also what we call brand pillars. These are key elements, just like that foundation, that say, hey, this is what makes us unique. No matter what happens, we want to hold true to these pillars. So I'm going to go through those a little bit right now. The brand attributes are how we talk about ourselves. It's how we want people to know when they think of Maiden and they get a picture in their mind. We're friendly, welcoming, charming, we're relaxed, but we're also competitive and prideful. I heard that over and over again in the interviews, that we're very big on our sportsmanship here and we're competitive, but we're also innovative, and we think about how you you've innovated and re-innovated over time to become the community you are today. And you were founded by a group of entrepreneurs, essentially, which was innovative, this resilient nature, and resourceful. So from there, we came up with the brand pillars. These are our strengths and key differentiators. There's 3 of them: fellowship, entrepreneurship, and sportsmanship. With fellowship, Maiden is a tight-knit community where some joke if you weren't born here, you aren't from here, yet Maiden is always welcoming to new faces. Maiden highly values fun and good fellowship as the cornerstone of the community, which is best seen as local events and amazing park spaces. Entrepreneurship. Maiden was built by entrepreneurs. The town's pioneers had the courage to settle in the outskirts of Charlotte and bet on themselves in order to succeed. Through countless economic downturns, Maiden has prospered because of the spirit and the resilient nature and the ability to continue to reinvent yourselves. Sportsmanship, known as the biggest little football town previously, Maiden's football programs really gained the community notoriety, but its reputation for sportsmanship has since expanded. You're considered a community that's proud of your athletes, and you often find gathering at whatever game is taking place on a Friday night to support your local teams. Sportsmanship represents Maiden's behavior and commitment to fair play, ethical behavior, integrity, and general goodwill towards others. So these pillars are not meant to really be public facing. They're for us to know internally this is what we stand for as a community. That all comes together to create your brand story. This narrative is what is the marketing story that would be on the website and how we would talk about Maiden as a community. It's not often you find a small town that honors both peace and possibility. But then again, it's not often you find a town like Maiden, forged with an entrepreneurial spirit and unwavering belief in community fellowship. Maiden thrives by mixing the peace and charm of the mountains with the promise of progress found in nearby big cities. Enjoying downtown, visiting a local park or sporting event, and raising a family comes easy to the residents of Maiden. But beneath the small town charm, Maiden prides itself on innovation, defining what's possible, and competing to be the best of the best. It's this attitude of hard work and determination that has allowed its residents to thrive for over 100 years. Maiden, living made easy. So living made easy being the tagline and brought into the design aesthetic, the new logo. There are 3 distinct colors in the E, which represent the 3 pillars of entrepreneurship, fellowship, and sportsmanship. That bold blue is brought to life. It's not the exact one of the school, it's kind of a deeper tone. And then we have the pop of orange, which to us speaks to the innovation. And from there, you have your secondary mark that you can use when you're printing smaller than 2.5 inches or you're using on your iconography of signage. That M can really stand out. And then this just gives you an example of how you would use that logo. And then the expanded color palette. So when you have programs and events, everything can kind of fall in line with a family of brands and be cohesive visually and everything. So this just shows you how those colors can be used throughout the seasons. You might see them play out in fall, in Christmas. The palette is expansive for that reason, to give you that variety and pops of color throughout. This is an example of what a wayfinding sign might look, because we want to beat out Lincolnton on the roadways. And then pop-up tents potentially at your outdoor events. Some of the apparel examples. And last but not least, all of your branded merchandise. That would be, your letterhead, your business branded collateral. So it's nice that this logo can be used large and small, but it really creates an identity for the community to celebrate. And with that, we have a video we'd love for you to play. And then I'll take any questions.
Hello, I am Mayor Max Bumgarner Jr., and on behalf of the Town Council and staff, I am excited to announce our new logo and branding initiative based on 3 pillars: fellowship, entrepreneurship, and sportsmanship.
Community made easy.
Comunidad hecha fácil.
Business made easy.
Safety made easy.
Play made easy.
Employment. Worship.
Learning made easy.
Training made easy. Investment made easy.
Maiden, North Carolina.
Living made easy.
go. What questions do you have, if any?
You want to explain to the audience about the M? It's got,
About the M itself?
yeah, it's got the three.
The M also does have the three, yep. All of it was uniquely designed for Maiden, so this is not a font you would find online anywhere else. It was drawn just for you. And it also has the three lines in it, so you see how that's separated there. That's on purpose, and again, to reinforce the pillars. But what I also think is incredibly unique, because we work with several towns and counties across the country, we've never had one that has three colors in the logo, which I think is special and fun, so. I believe tonight is an action, so I will leave it to you all to decide.
So, we've been working on this for 8 months now.
Yep.
In council, we had a public meeting in October that went way into detail on this over at the Klutz Building. We had a couple members of the public showed up, all the department heads. At this time, if y'all don't have any questions, I would ask that, or if Anna has anything to say. Anna's really head up this project, by the way. She's done a great job with her and the Haven Group. But if you don't have any questions, I would ask that you vote to accept the branding book. Anna, keep me straight. Branding book, logo, and tagline, correct?
I make a motion that we accept the branding book, the logo, and the tagline created by Haven.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion's carried unanimous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
for all
you.
your
Thank
hard
you.
work. Thank you, Ian.
Love it. Thank you.
Okay, old business, parking and traffic ordinance. Chief,
I think it's a team effort, but it looks like Blake's.
So this is just an update on the parking and traffic ordinance, which is Appendix B. At this time, staff has formed an internal committee, and we're looking at the Appendix B to take out some of the older references to landmarks that aren't here anymore, and taking out some of the items that don't really make as much sense to be in that code anymore. And once we have completed that, we'll bring it back to council for an approval.
And it's also, once they get the high levels or the low hanging fruit, I believe we was talking about maybe actually contracting with the COG to go through and do because we're talking several hours of work. And, with our normal staff load that we have, I don't know if we'll be able to get it done in a timely manner. So we may, yeah.
Like I said, we did meet and made progress, but yeah, that's it's gonna be a process. It's gonna be a long process.
The problem we're having is a lot of the references are no longer there. So we are going through getting the low hanging stuff, but, I will, right now, I see us probably, coming back before council with a contract with the COG to basically go in and do all the legwork, reporting to the committee of Blake and, the chief. If not, this could drag on for years. So, it's the only way I could think of doing it and get it done in a timely manner. There's no motion, that was just an update.
Sure. Anybody got any questions about it? If
No,
not-
it makes me happy, thank you.
Not, we're gonna move right along then.
I have something else related to old business.
Okay.
Can I ask something else? I know, I don't think it was last council meeting, but the one before that, the equipment was being ordered for the crosswalk over on East Boyd. Do we have an update on that?
Everything but the poles that came in.
Okay,
And when they get here, we'll put them up. It's-
we don't know.
Well, it's supposed to be shortly after the end of the year. We are gonna proceed with go ahead and probably striping, in
Okay.
the next couple of weeks and go ahead and get that part of the project completed.
Okay.
Yeah, things we used to be able to get in 3 days are taking us 3 years
Poles, you
now.
mean that the sign will go on? Sign
Yeah,
poles?
yeah, the equipment's in, we're waiting for the decorative pole.
Okay.
Decorative poles.
And they have to be breakaway in case somebody hits them, they break away. Their job, you just can't go put a regular pole in the ground, it's a special pole. Just like
So,
street signs and everything.
January is,
Ish.
okay, all right.
Okay, you have before you ordinance 11-2023, ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2022-2023 budget in the electric fund.
Good evening. This is essentially the same budget amendment I brought to you last month. I made a mistake on that and did not catch it before I brought it to you and used the wrong account number and type. So this is a corrected budget amendment with the correct information. It is the same information you got last month for the same money and project. I just need it to be reapproved.
And so that she don't take all the blame, it did go before Brian's eyes and my eyes, and we all missed it. So, it's one of those things, in fact, the next morning she came to me and was like, we got a problem. She picked it up as soon as she went to put it in the computer, so, it happens. We had a busy month last month. She was coming back from being out for 6 weeks, and it was just a typo error, so this will correct that.
I make a motion we approve ordinance number 11-2023, ordinance to amend the fiscal year budget 22-23 budget in the electric fund.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion's carried unanimous. Resolution 6-2023, resolution to utilize the USDA funding.
So, I know everybody's all, when we're gonna build the fire department, when we're gonna build the fire department. Every time we turn around, we're running into something else, but, we need this resolution to continue, the USDA application process. Our hope is to get it in before the end of the year so that we fall under 2022 regulations, not 2023. The holdup right now that we're finding is the environmental report. It is done, it's just not been submitted, is that correct?
Yeah,
Luke?
that's what I'm being told. There's
Okay.
many factors that play into it and many parties, so there you haven't got all the parties to submit. the
Luke,
final findings of the
yeah.
report.
So what we're gonna do, we're gonna ask you to pass this resolution directing staff to submit the application with the draft report, and then after which the draft, when the final report is completed, we will submit that as well. This is one of about 75 things that we have to submit, and that's the only thing that's holding us up at this point.
Luke, you're here, you commented on that, I'm gonna just follow up with this. There's a general perception in some places within our community that, we are holding that process up. Can you clarify if there's anything else that we would have to do on our end that would be holding up the fire department? Can you put some clarity on that?
Yeah, to my knowledge, there's nothing. This environmental assessment come up sort of a last minute deal. We thought we had everything ready to go, and then, they sent USDA, to my understanding, sent us this and said, hey, now we need this. So
Yes.
yes, she had done a lot of legwork, getting everything done, papers prepared, and then all of a sudden, we get stuck with this, and it's not something that you can just get somebody out here overnight. I mean, we had to get quotes in from different people and go through everything to ensure that we were getting the best bang for our buck.
So has council, manager, or staff at any time delayed this process?
No.
And it's also important to know that we're still on pace to make the spring deadline, goal of starting.
That was gonna be my question, because we started this like April?
Yes.
Maybe, May? So we're still, nothing's changed?
Nothing's changed.
Okay.
The main thing is, we asked for a list of things that we needed from the USDA. We got them, we put it all together, and then they requested an additional environmental piece to it. So
Right.
we're in the process, the environmental piece is done, the report has to be typed up and submitted, and that's through our vendor, not us. However, This resolution, to stay on that same pace with the goal of breaking ground in springtime needs to be approved tonight, so we can, submit the application with the draft environmental report. Now, did I say anything wrong, Jess?
No,
Okay.
this is just something, if we had known about it 3 months ago, we could have gotten on it a lot sooner. We submitted, and then they came back and said, the environmental team, I think, is the one that said we had to have this phase 1 environmental report, which is a very lengthy report. This was not something in the initial guidelines of what we needed to submit.
It's also been brought to my attention by other managers who've gone through this process. This is probably not the last curveball that we'll face. It's just bureaucracy and the size of the project.
So, once all that's submitted, I understand our goal is to get it submitted by the end of the year. What is their turnaround time for approval? I mean, generally, do we know that?
So I don't have a definitive on that. I have reached out, gotten the LGC involved. They know we're issuing debt. USDA, I have a contact that I am in pretty good contact with during the week. He just continues to tell me, as long as we have it into him, by the end of the year, we'll be on track. So I don't know what the exact timeline is for them to give the final approval,
Yeah.
but we're working real hard just to get them.
But we have no reason to doubt it will not meet our spring deadline.
It's also important to know that we're already getting on the LGC's calendar for February.
I believe March.
March is so that will be, so once they approve it, we have 30 days to submit a bid, to approve the bid. So March, April timeframe is what we're still looking on. It's also, something we found out, our USDA contact actually lives in Dallas, North Carolina. So it's not like we're dealing with someone in Austin, Texas. So we're lucky in that fact that he is close enough that he knows where Maiden's at and knows a lot of the things we're dealing with.
All right, so we ready to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that Resolution 6, 2023, a resolution to utilize USDA funding.
Okay, I got a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion's carried unanimous. Resolution 7.
Resolution 7 and Resolution 8 is basically the same thing. One's for varsity, one's for JV. The cheerleading squad won the North Carolina High School Athletic Association Cheerleading Invitation Championship for the state this year. These two resolutions are in recognition of that. We did a similar thing with the with the tennis team a few years ago. Once approved, Wanda and Anna are going to print them out, frame them, mat them, and then we will hand each coach, player, or a copy at the December 20th ball game at the girls' high school, in the halftime of the girls' varsity game. That's their next home game. It'll be against South Caldwell. So if y'all have any other questions, I will attempt to answer them. But that's what's before council tonight.
So they need a motion on
Both of them.
each one separate?
Each
or-
one separate, yes, sir.
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 7, 2023, a resolution of achievement varsity cheerleading squad.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion's carried unanimous. I need one for Resolution 8.
Make a motion that we accept resolution number 8, 2023, a resolution of achievement for the junior varsity cheerleading squad.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion's carried unanimous.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we go into closed session.
Before we take a vote on that, I want to offer one thing. I just got just popped up on my phone. There's a story on the on WSOC TV tonight about one of our officers helping a lady whose house is on fire. I will text it out, but I also recommend anybody in the audience to go look at it. I haven't watched it, but the text says it's a good story. I got 4 or 5 of them so far, so. With
Good.
that, sorry about that, Bob.
I make a motion that we go into closed session.
Got a motion?
Second.
A second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. We are now in closed session.